All right. Called Law Yimla Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai by Hashem Rakah Hakodash. The abundance of those and the apostles, GMS, do will shalom to the hopefully like. Now, you see this that I'm about to play on the video or on the screen right now. In fair use, fair use. This is, not for any public payment, promotion deals or anything. I'm not getting paid for any of this. This is so you see what's on the screen. You see Entropic, and you see it takes a page from Palantir, and all this is just new world activity. Governing, new world AI technology that's going to be used to govern the world to get you used to it, right? Now, this, like I said, gradualism. This devil's about gradualism. Now, just because people are already getting used to ChatGPT and OpenAI, right? They're pretty much, and really what they're doing is they still, every time you type or you bring out knowledge or you search up certain data, whatever, right? What you're doing is you're giving them their data. They're stealing your data. AI is stealing your data, and it's training itself. I remember making a video a while back, literally going into pretty much how, it was quick, but it was how AI trains itself. It's a language, any of these AI platforms, these computerized technology, whether it be iPad or, this voice technology, Siri, right? Or Alexa or whatever. All these different AI based technologies that's out there, man. Technological, platforms that's out there. They use AI. They train themselves by stealing your data and pretty much talking to the other AI platforms and interacting. That's why they have these different interactive AIs that that's all pretty much governed together. Whether it be Black Box with the banking system, or it be Palantir with the security, right? Which is going to be used to monitor you. It's going to be, used to help these robots identify you and face scan you, right? Now, Entropic, this is something new. Now, it's not necessarily new. None of it's new. But when you say open AI, this is just, another tool that's going to be used in the digital market. Because guess what? They're training AI to be the new God, And let me get this real quick, before I go ahead, because this is pretty much the Lord talked about this, man. Mouth speaking great things. It's Revelations 13. You can see these things picking up, man. At this point, it's not rocket science, bro. So Revelation 13 and 15, it says, he was permitted to give life unto the statue so that it could speak. And what is a statue? What does a statue represent? It's a monument. It represents a god, right? You see the different statues in history, these Greek goddesses and these different idols, right? This is just another idol. I'm just making it plain. This is just another idol. It's the thing about this idol, through technology, it's able to speak. It's able to, perform miracles, right? It's fast. You just type shit in on ChatGPT, and then, boom, bam, it's got whatever you need right there. And this is what the world is going into. It's going into that digital revolution. And eventually you're going to have to take the chip in order to participate. Now you might be able to move around. You got a phone. You got the QR codes that's still out there that's being used. So it's not going to be automatic. It's going to be a gradual process. And now you're seeing people starting to get hit and hurt and pretty much lose it. But see, that's all a part of just gradually building you up a tolerance, to want to, not a tolerance, but a want for something better, and that's what these devils do. That's what they've always done throughout history. It's just a form of them. You just like how they use taxation on the people to, or they use bread and circus. Let's use that for an example. They was giving you all these different, distractions and, fun. And you think you was getting a lot of money, right? Everything was free, and it talks about that in the scriptures. Even then, It talks about things pretty much, you know, so where I'm looking for, just goods will be so, yeah, it's in Esdras, goods will be so cheap that people will find themselves to be in good case, roughly paraphrasing. That was just another form of bread and circus. What you're seeing right now, Trump, pretty much showing his horns. Not just Trump, but the beast system in general. All those elites are part of it. And you got to be ready for these type of things. You got to have your mind ready. Now, granted, it's gonna. I believe everything's gonna happen simultaneously. It's definitely a build up to it. I don't know. It could be by 20. They could stretch this out to 2026 because there's still things that, I mean, this open AI Anthropic that's coming out. I could see this being something that's used in just your everyday marketing, whether it be online or whether it be your everyday life and tracking you. You remember the elders and apostles coming out and talking about carbon footprint tracking. They could just shut you off on the universal basic income if they feel like, like cattle, you're doing too much or you're causing too much carbon in the area. Like, nah, you can't buy no more. Or, the social credit system. You can't enter into this business because you don't have a good enough social credit score. You can't enter into this club because you don't have a good enough social credit system, So it's gonna be it's gonna be some shit, man, and a lot of people ain't ready for it because you've been bred over here. Americans have been bred in entitlement, and this system here is going to be a system that does away with it. It's either the devil's way, or you're just gonna have to, you're gonna be ostracized from society. So continuing on, verse 15, it says, "Then the statue, of the beast commanded that anyone refusing to worship it must die." And that's what I see as AI system turning into a damn demon. And AI already, I've already, checked this thing off as, some bullshit, right? And then he goes into the 16, he required for everyone small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to be given a mark on the right hand or their forehead. Now, I want to say this too. AI has already been trained to target you jakes, man, in the system. That's why you have a lot of these different statistics going out in there, because this devil's of statistics. He likes statistics and shit. He uses that and data, to try to prove his point. And he usually posts your face, with as the problem to get you to react, and pretty much AI is going to be trained to target you automatically as a threat. That's what's going on, and it's happening before people's eyes. And it's one of them things that if you're not really paying attention, because there's a lot of things, I understand, there's a lot of shit going on right now. I'm gonna play this video real quick, because it's, like it says, open AI, and all it is, I mean, they already got a platform for just about everything in this, dealing with this digital system, man. But this is going hand in hand with Palantir, OpenAI. They're all going to be working on the same, under the same agenda, man.
App. I used it daily.
It's just going to be this going to monitor this. This is going to monitor this sect of society. This is going to monitor this sector. So say you're dealing with food, this is going to monitor, this sector of how food is coming in and going out. What you're buying. What's good for you and what's not good for you on the all based on the universal basic income. This sector is going to be, monitoring your social credit system, how well you work with others, or how responsible you are, how many criminal cases you have gotten, all of that, right? And then this sect might be, the sect that, separate, if you're, how well you are on the job. Say it's still a part of social credit system, right? But how well you are in a different class of society. So you're gonna be classified. So you don't, like I said, like I was saying, you might not be able to enter into certain areas without a certain class. And this is shit that was going on in ancient Egypt too. But let me play this real quick. Fair use. I ain't getting paid for this shit. Like I said, now you devils get down.
Welcome back. In the global race for AI supremacy, competition is heating up. And today, one of the biggest players is making a major move. We have exclusive details on Anthropic's plans to supercharge its international operations. Mackenzie Sigalos joins us now from San
International,
Francisco.
right?
Oh, getting so
Because
tongue-tied.
Trump is
How are you,
with the
Mac?
global agenda.
I'm good, Morgan, and you're going to
He
recognize
sold
this
America.
move
He
as it is
sold
right out of Palantir's
Americans over,
playbook.
bro.
Anthropic is
And pretty
sending
much Prophet's
engineers
been saying
directly
that to
into
you.
companies around the world to help them build new tools and workflows on top of their AI models. The startup is launching an international hiring blitz, opening new offices in Tokyo, its first in Asia Pacific, and across Europe, while planning to bring on country leads in India, South Korea, and Singapore. I spoke exclusively with the company's chief commercial officer, Paul Smith, who called this their most aggressive expansion.
I'm not going to play the whole video. You can watch that yourself. But pretty much what I was saying, you see, you have one over here, this AI system. What I was saying about how all these different digital AI major platforms, which is governed by AI, which is going to be governed by AI, and the universal basic income, so on and so forth, the world agenda. You know, man, no matter if you're going dealing with international, you're dealing with this country, you know, or your country, wherever you at, all of it's going to be, like I said, this country might deal with Entropic. This country might deal with Palantir, but it's still going to be under that one agenda. You know, this might deal with social credit. This might deal with, you know, food and health, you know, and this might deal with medicines and business and finance. And then this one might deal with security and, you know, that fourth one dealing with security and pretty much, you know, law enforcement. And all of it's going to be governed by AI. They got robots. I mean, you're seeing robots now. You know, you see a robot, you know, throwing a kick, got kicked in the head and fell over the damn, you know, the rubber mat. But I'm thinking, shit, that robot ever, you know, gets to mine, he might kick your damn kneecap out of place. You know, because AI is training themselves, man. You know, you playing, you thinking it's funny. You know, everything is, you know, all sweet and cuddly and funny until the, you know, the devil starts showing you his true colors. Until it's not. Everything is funny, it's cool, is he ha ha until it's not. And that's what we're telling you now, you know. But I was looking into it a little bit. Entropic.com. It says AI research and products that put safety at the frontier. You know. So this is dealing with pretty much everything. But this is on an international level, and America is going to be on that international level because what are they showing you? You know, that little horn that the Lord said they would raise up. America works for Israel. You know, they pretty much are showing you that they sold over to them and to the agenda at D because they understand that, you know, Trump is really just, he's a small level devil compared to, you know, the elites and what they really want. We really, you know, all of this is really targeted to try to get to the prophets and who they are. But look at this. It says AI will have a vast impact on the world. It says Entropic is a public benefit corporation dedicated to securing benefits and mitigating its risk. I want to go down here because I was looking at it. I was reading it a little bit. You know, it talks about core safety, core views on AI safety, all these different things. And that's what them going into stealing your data for. You know, I want to get this real quick. Them stealing your data is pretty much training AI on how to govern the world, you know, and them making Jake out to be the problem. This goes into AI, you know, pretty much going to target Jake more than anybody else. By nature, man. But, you know, let's keep reading. It says, while no one can foresee every outcome, right? Because you're not prophets first and foremost. It says AI will have on society. It says, we do know that designating powerful technologies require both bold steps forward and international pauses to consider the effects. That is why we focus on building tools with human benefit at their foundation, like Claude, you know, through our daily research, in which is them stealing your data, you know, without you knowing, monitoring your shit. FBI already does that. So, policy work and product design, we aim to show what responsible AI development, looks like in practice. That's what they say, but they're stealing your data. That's not very responsible, and that's very conniving. And then they're stealing your data for maniacal means. Especially when you got neo Nazis in America, that's with this agenda, Trump. Pretty much training this system to target you. And see, this is all a race for who's going to be the next powerhouse, who's going to be in the next power seat. And the Lord spoke about these things, man. Let's get it real quick, and then I'm gonna end it. Oops, not enterprise. And we always bring it out, man. But you seeing these things start to happen, and it's one of them things where you're gonna have to, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Job 5:12, he says, he disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Verse 13, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. So pretty much, it's a separation of society. It's the elite, and then there's what they call the cattle, which will be us. Look at us as cattle. And see, this is how the wicked gets down. When the wicked are in power, the wicked are in rulership, the people mourn, the righteous, the people rejoice. And see, now they're strongholding you in a position where you're going to have to trust AI. A lot of our people are going to take it. They're going to take the chip. They're going to be on board with a lot of this because they're not really paying attention. Even when they, you see how prideful even homeless people are. In that aspect, man, they don't give a fuck. Americans have been bred to be entitled and prideful, no matter what position they in, man. So they're going to take it. And their pride reacheth unto the heavens, according to how, the scriptures, what the scriptures say. So if you're not really paying attention, if you don't know what's going on, or if the Lord ain't dealing with you right now, you're going to get caught in all this shit, and you're going to take it, into the faithful, sincere brothers and sisters, those that's in the know. Just continue on your faith, just continue to grow, and, just continue to understand that, this world is not the same. This is not a normal world. Everything you do is being monitored, and it's about to go down, bro. I'm just in that right there. It's pretty much got the point. So be watchful of these different AI programs, because that's literally going to be used to snare a lot of jakes. It could be used to snare a lot of brothers and sisters too. So I'm in that right there. Call Allah Yalan Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Hashem Rakak Quadash, which means all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahweh, in the name of his Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Shalom to the whole